Hey, farmhands, how's everybody doing tonight?
Welcome to the show. Happy Saturday.
Yeah. So we're just waiting on Sean to get in the room here. He's having a couple technical difficulties, but he'll be making it in. So hopefully everybody's had a great week. How are you doing, D?
I am tired. I'm happy it's Saturday. Thank God it's Saturday. Forget about
Right?
Friday. Thank God it's Saturday. I hope everybody else had a great week, stayed safe, did their homework, ate their vegetables, all that good stuff. How are you, young man?
I'm doing pretty good. Not bad. I've been trying to get over a sore back. I hurt on Saturday. I slipped a disc. So last week,
Oh, man.
yeah. So I've been trying to get that all fixed out so I can get back to working on my tanks and stuff. So it's been a rough week, but we're getting there.
It's hard, man. We both got these builds going on. You can't afford to get old, buddy.
Oh, I'm feeling it. It's my birthday this month. And
Yeah.
yeah, the big 3-9. The big 3-9.
Woo! That 3-9, I remember.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking a little bit of automation tonight, testing and stuff. And we have Eric Tang here from Focustronic, and we're going to be checking out all his products and one of his new products that he's going to be releasing. So we're going to get Eric on the show here, and hopefully Sean's going to get with us very soon.
He'll pop in. He'll do this Superman thing, like go into the phone booth, pop out all changed up and ready to go.
Exactly. All right. Hey,
hi,
how's
everybody.
it
going? Hey,
Good.
welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, so how's it going in Hong Kong, right? You're in Hong Kong?
Yeah, we're in Hong Kong, and it's good. It's the morning time, 10 o'clock. a little bit chilly. I mean, based on what we get in Hong Kong, it's about 8 degrees, something like that.
Ooh, yeah, that's a little bit chilly.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. We are constantly talking about innovation. We are the Reefing Collective. So we look at all points of view. We take questions from all of the fans. We post a lot of information. And for the past week, we've been going to the polls and to the Facebook pages and asking about technology, testing, and lighting, which has brought us right into the Focustronic. Focustronic being one of the innovators in this field. I am the least technological. I have the gurus that help me. I learn. I am really slow. I've been doing my homework, and I believe I met Eric about a year or so ago at a show, and I was like, wow, is this real? Like you can really set up things to test your aquarium. Like I didn't have to do it. Like I could sit on my comfy couch and have something testing for me. And we're here and we're really going to talk about these things. I'm really excited.
Good. Because I mean, just based on what you just said, I mean, it's actually we make this to be more easy for new users, because each product is standalone. You don't need another product to run the product, so you can start with whichever you want. I mean, obviously, I would start with Alkatronic because KH is the most important element.
Yes.
And if you can stabilize that, you're like halfway done to the goal.
Exactly.
And I mean, before we have Mastertronic, we always tell people if you have Alkatronic and you have KH stable, your calcium, your magnesium should be relatively stable. It won't fluctuate crazy, because the consumption is like pretty much in ratio 1:1:1. So yeah, I mean, start off with Alkatronic, but now we have the new product, the Mastertronic, which everybody's waiting for a couple months.
That's all we hear. That's all we hear about.
Yeah, and we will be shipping them soon. I mean, the production is ready. I mean, we apologize for the small delays, but we actually gained some good improvement over the last couple of weeks. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing that you guys are taking your time and making sure, get all the little glitches out of it before sending it out to the hobbyist.
Yeah. And I mean, as we said earlier, I mean, we actually made some improvements. I mean, over the last 2-3 weeks. And so the products just keeps getting better and better. I mean, we can have track record. I mean, Alkatronic, we brought this out in 2017.
Yep.
And we've been upgrading and improving. I mean, hardware-wise and software-wise. Even the users from Gen 1, I mean, the very first units that we released, they can still have the latest software. So they don't miss out anything if you buy early. You only enjoy earlier.
Yes. So let's just talk a little bit about your background, how Focustronic got started, and how you got into the reefing.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Focustronic started out as a kind of a reef lighting company. I mean, the reason for that is that I used to work for a lighting company who does hotel lightings, spotlights, and they have this motorized feature where people can control the light up 20 feet high in the hotel room ceiling to adjust for the angles to pin spot tables. And with my passion, I mean, I transferred this to reef lighting because it was possible because with all the LEDs and all LED clusters, we can do this, and we can actually mimic the sun by having a swivel light source. And it's because one of the drawbacks for LEDs is that they are very focused, too focused in some ways, and without the spread, because you can't penetrate a deeper tank if it's all spread out.
Right.
And at the same time, the disadvantage is that you get a hotspot. This is a known fact with LEDs. And I thought, oh, with a swivel head, you can actually have we call that a sweet spot now because this is movable.
Right.
The sweet spot in one location at this hour, then it will be at another location at this hour. So you can actually have a longer period of high intensity to bring out the color of the corals. I mean, SPS specifically, and without burning them, because for a powerful LED fixture, I would say people won't be able to turn it on up at 100%. They're probably going at 60 or 70% for a couple hours. So to me, I mean, when I was thinking about the Focustronic light, I said it's like driving a Ferrari in the city. You need to put it on the track. You need to put it on the track, right? To feel the power.
You never really use 100.
No. So that's how we got started. But as I said, we were pretty over optimistic, and because the lighting market is actually quite difficult. I mean, we have big players, we have some lower end fixtures, so we need. I mean, based on what we have or what we were offering, we are pretty much in the high end sector. So that means we were competing with like the big boys directly.
Yes.
And it was not easy. It was not easy at all. And after that, after the first launch of the Focus One, I teamed up with Jonas from Sweden. Yep. And then we developed the Alcatronic, which I would consider as a very, very big seller. I mean, for a new company like us. Yeah. And it is a big seller even right now because I can say if it's not the best, it's one of the best KH controller out in the market.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you one of those questions of which product is used most in the hobby from your end.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Alcatronic. I mean, even I like the light so much, I would still say the Alcatronic is the most used because again, lighting, you have too many options. But based on KH controller out in the market right now, I mean, there are new players now. We can still say we are one of the most consistent unit out in the market, and almost I would say we are the cheapest running unit. I mean, in terms of the reagent.
I love the fact that it's standalone. I mean, for the last couple of months, we've been talking about controllers, and it's amazing like how many people don't want to rely on so many devices to run the tank. But testing is required for most all of them, even if they don't want to automate any other features of the tank. So that is a really great selling point that you don't need all the other devices to run the Alcatronic.
Yeah, it's true. If somebody just wants to have a doser, they can just, have the Dosatronic standalone, makes it nice. And not everyone has to buy every component to put it together, or in the future, they can make it all into one unit.
Yeah, you can go step by step. But
exactly.
I want to elaborate a little bit on these points. I mean, for Alcatronic, it not only controls or measure your KH, but it actually in our user group, I mean, there's a lot of cases where it actually saves a tank from crashing, not because of alkalinity, of something else. Because if it's something else that is affecting the tank, you have a problem, and then you quickly will look at it and stuff like that. So
Hey,
it actually
Eric,
saves.
I needed you back in the '90s when I crashed a few tanks.
You messed with that kelp washer again.
Oh, that was all we had before. We
Yeah,
had
no,
we had Kalkwasser, and it was like a hit or a miss because testing, we didn't have a number. You had, maybe it was green, maybe it was yellow.
yeah,
That could be a point, that could be 2 points. So the hobby's come a long way.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And with the Alcatronic too, it has a dosing built into it. I have a lot of people message me, does it just measure or does it dose? Like, it's amazing how many people message me all the time about it and ask me if it does that function as well. And
Yeah,
it's
I mean, it has a. I mean, with Alcatronic right now, I mean, it can be used standalone. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
of course, you don't dose the 3 pots all together, but at least you can have the KH controlled and maintained, and that's really important because I mean, of course, for thriving reef, you want the 3 to balance, but
Yes.
before you get a thriving reef, you got to have a live reef.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, and that's helps what keeps your consistency with your Alcatronic, because it's always
Exactly.
testing. And if it needs to add a little bit of DKH, it can. If it doesn't, it just keeps on sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, we're getting a lot of questions on the side there.
I know. We'll get to you guys. We'll get to you guys.
So where are we? I mean, I'm sorry, we've been talking for so much.
We went over the history. We went over the start and the application. It's a standalone unit. The testing and dosing capabilities.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, and then yeah, after the Alcatronic, then with the Dosetronic. I mean, the Dosetronic is obviously to dose your 3 pots plus other stuff. I mean, no pox or other nutrient stuff or etc.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, now with the Dosetronic, you can actually have a balanced 3-pot dosing based on your KH levels. So it's not only doing your KH by Alcatronic alone, but actually does your calcium and magnesium. So basically, with the two together, you can autopilot your dosing pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. I know,
Yeah.
like, because I have the Alcatronic and the Dosetronic, and I rely on that Alcatronic a lot now because, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that I don't have to be testing anymore. It does it for me. It just makes life so much easier and makes things so much more consistent and more successful, I find. Like, I've done everything every other way, but just having that automated, it just makes me a better reefer.
Yeah. And with your system, I mean, we have a lot of people using calcium reactors.
Yes.
And people using calcium reactor with Alcatronics or with Dosetronic as well. Because for big system like yours, I mean, the Hulk, I mean, you don't want the dosing.
No.
It will be too expensive.
No. Yeah, exactly. And I love with the reactor, I just set it, you know, the Alcatronic runs it, and I pretty much forget about it. It just does its thing. I still monitor it, like make sure everything is, you know, everything's in the range it's supposed to be, but it works great.
Yeah, but what I want to say is that, I mean, we will be upgrading the Dosetronic software so that it can actually dose continuously for calcium reactor pump. So that, because for calcium reactor users, they can't really vary the flow. I mean, from
you still have to do that part.
And we can actually do that. I mean, and the other benefit of using a Dosetronic with calcium reactors is that you can have like 90% dosing from the calcium reactors and then 10% from dosing, so that you can
vary it.
reduce the up and downs.
Yes. Yep.
Because
stabilize.
Yeah, because calcium reactors is very stable, but at the nighttime the cores don't take up much, and that's where the peak is.
Exactly.
So if you have a kind of a Dosetronic with calcium, so you have less from the calcium reactor, but you actually supplement the dosing to flatten the curves.
So you can actually have the Dosetronic run on a continuous setting.
Yes, but that is going to be with a next upgrade.
Oh,
yeah, because I got
you heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been asking me. I want to do water changes with my Dosetronic.
Yes, we will be also implementing that in the next update.
There you go, viewers. There you go.
But actually, I mean, in our user group, somebody actually DIY their schedule.
I saw that. Yeah.
But then we're gonna make it easier for people with a new software and a new app layout.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
it's going to be more intuitive, and you don't have to play with it yourself with schedules.
Well, exactly. The easier you make it for the end user, the better.
Now I have to add, with that being said, I have to ask one thing. One thing I know you run into with continuous dosing is the pumps. Like with the Dosatronic, would you be able to replace those heads? Or, I mean, when you're running on a 24-hour system, it can be pretty hard on the system.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons, I mean, I would those cheap. And one of the reasons why it's so expensive is that we're using the stepper pumps.
Oh, okay, that's one.
Not the DC pumps. I mean, with a continuous dosing,
those are like what they use in hospitals. Those are heavy grade.
The thing that you really need to replace regularly is the hose inside the pump.
Yeah, the hose.
And those are cheap. Those are like a couple of bucks per hose, so you don't have to really worry about those.
Excellent.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of people asking questions here.
Oh man, you see that, Sean? I'm waiting for
So we're streaming on Facebook too, and you probably won't be able to see those, Eric.
Right. Okay. So you have to bring those questions out. I can
bring those on for sure. Yeah, I can. Okay.
So
we didn't touch on the lights yet, and I'll save the question. Somebody asked a question about the lights. I'll hold that question until we actually go into that, so we don't go off track too much. But I want that user to know I didn't forget your question. I have a note.
Yeah. That's fine.
Good. So
no, the other thing I wanted to ask you too, so are you a hobbyist as well? That's what a lot of people like to know. Like you invent, create all the. Oh, are you? Can you still hear me, Eric?
Well,
I was going to say.
Yeah,
so
I
people.
Hear you. I just swapped the earplugs.
So we always like to ask. So you're a creator. You're inventing new products and stuff. Like, are you a hobbyist yourself?
Yes, I would say I've been keeping fish since I was a teenager. So that's like 20-something years ago. And but I wouldn't consider myself a passionate reefer until the last 15 or so years.
Okay.
I mean, we all know running a reef is not cheap, so you need some financial backup before you can.
You're not lying. You're right about that.
Have a proper reef. I mean, it's not hard to start a reef, but if you want to have a successful one or to maintain one, you need the proper equipment.
Yeah.
And for myself right now, I can say this: I won't have a reef without an alcatronic. I mean, that's for sure. Because even though if I may have the time, I'm just too lazy to do all the testing.
All the testing stuff, yeah.
And you hit a serious point right there, because we get countless questions about not just your product but every product, the cost. And I think more of the question when you start a reef is, what is your goal? Because if like Ryan says, if you set up a system on an automated setup where it's easier for you to do things, then your tank will do better, and your tank will actually pay you back in the labor, because you won't be crashing your tank, you won't be killing fish, you won't be losing coral. Like, once you get a tank set up on one level and it's running consistent and your levels are consistent, it can keep you in a hobby. A lot of the problems we get is people get in a hobby, they get the wrong idea of how to start, and they do the wrong thing, they kill the tank, and they get out of the hobby and they don't know where they went wrong. So it's important to research before you get in what equipment, what the actual cost should be, and how to set it up the right way from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And the initial investment is actually quite scary, to be honest. But but if you want to go the cheap way, you're only going to screw yourself, and you're going to exit the hobby pretty quick, and you end up not having any of the returns on the equipment. So you better do it right than do it cheap.
Exactly.
So let me see. We got a lot here.
You want to start bringing some of these comments into here?
Yeah, I don't. I'm flying down the line. Sorry, I'm late. One question was, would the unit work with the Apex? I know it's a standalone system, but would it work with the Apex? That was one question, Charles Finley, and regarding the Mastertronic or the Alcatronic. And since it
I
stands
mean, the
alone, it works.
Alcatronic,
It works standalone. It has no reason why you should have any problem if you have an apex already, because it doesn't require an apex. I don't know if that question was a little confused there, but it does not require a controller in order for it to work. So if you have a controller, it doesn't affect it in any shape, form, or fashion.
yeah. But just to explain a little bit more about that point, I mean, for Apex, I mean, for Alcatronic, you can use the BNC cable to connect to one of the PH ports or the WM module. I don't know because I don't own an Apex. I mean, one of the modules, so that you can actually pass the KH readings to your Apex. But as I mean, Dee said it right. I mean, it's a standalone. You don't require any controllers. But for the Alcatronic, when we started off, we actually included that BNC connector so that people can connect to Apex, GHL, or other controllers out in the market. And with our relationship with CoreView, we actually did that wirelessly with the hydros.
With the hydro,
So hydros will actually pick up the KH readings off our server.
Oh, great, because I believe that was another question. It was like, will it work with a
Really?
hydro? So you just kill two birds with one stone.
That's easy.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you guys, but I think Sean's here finally.
Okay, bring him on in. And one thing about having two systems giving you readings, if you have a reading from your hydros or you have a reading from your apex, this will provide you a certain level of redundancy, because they'll tell you, Sean and Ryan will tell you, I'm a critic of redundancy. I check behind my probes. Like if my probes give me a reading, I will take a chemical test to make sure that reading isn't a point off or one off. I like to be redundant. I like to check behind equipment, so it's good to have backup.
Exactly. And I mean, just like people having power backups, stuff like that. I mean, you need backups for reef systems. I mean, you have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in that tank, and don't save $1,000 or don't save a couple $100. I mean, do what you need to have that system secured or insured, if you will.
Hey, Eric, you find this funny? We had Hurricane Sandy here in New York. The insurance guy came into my house. I said, "The hell with the TV. My tank has got to keep running." I said, "I don't care with the no equipment, the stereo." I says, "My coral's got to keep running." I says, "That stuff's worth more than anything else in there."
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, while we're on that point, I mean, why we always, I mean, of course, we want people to buy the units, but one of the reasons is people spend most of the money on livestock rather than equipment. I mean, that's wrong. I mean, in my opinion, because if you can't keep them, why buy them, right?
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, true.
Welcome, Sean, the new and improved Sean. Sean 2.0. You sounding good there, Sean.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, the settings just would not work. So
you sound like
radio and everything. Getting there. We got fun stuff to add, I promise. Hi, Eric. Sorry for being late.
No
you
problem.
Sound great.
We were having
fun,
good, so now.
Yeah, but see, now the tough questions come.
Sean's our tough question guy.
You know, like that one question, like every single person that owns an Alcatronic asks one in particular question once they finally get it running and everything. And that question is, how do they make their Alcatronic quieter?
That's a very good one. I mean, yes, I mean, we started off on the wrong foot, to be honest. And I mean, people or even competitors use this as kind of a thing against us. And actually, we can have a Alcatronic really, really quiet, but that needs some kind of adjustments. I mean, what kind of adjustment is that? Is that from the factory, the pumps are screwed in too tight. Yeah, because I mean, from the factory point of view, they want it to be secured, but they missed the point about being quiet and not disturbing. And actually, we tell the users to actually to loosen up the screws for the two most important pumps, the stepper pumps, and actually that reduces a lot of the vibration. And if those are not the two concerned pumps, I mean, then it will be the DC pump, which is the pumping out the wastewater, and you can actually put a little bit of actually silicone grease or even Vaseline on the tubing, so that helps the friction.
Okay.
And you can actually get a very, very quiet running alkaline. Let me try this. I mean, I have one
I'm gonna have to go
there,
adjust.
and let me try to do it.
I know Fluval makes
Let me
a
start a
silicone
test
grease
right now.
for
See.
O-rings rather than using a Vaseline. Probably wears. They make an O-ring grease.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna
Basically
have to adjust
silicone.
mine because I know that's something I haven't done yet.
Oh, you didn't adjust yours yet?
Yeah.
No,
So,
but mine also has the
so-
quieting kit.
I
Oh.
think that was in the forum. Somebody
Okay.
mentioned that they opened it up and did something with the pump. They loosened it. I'd be scared that it'd be too loose then. Like there's a making it too loose versus it being too tight.
you
I think it's a fine line.
I mean, you're correct. I mean, the kind of the guideline that we tell users is that just loosen it by maybe half a turn or quarter of a turn. But then you really gotta try this before you can say, oh, we found the best
Sweet spot.
best tightness. Yeah, the sweet spot, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is one of the issues we have. But as soon as that settles, then you have a perfect running unit that you can leave it and not touch it for a month or even 2 months. Because let me say this: one of the benefits of alkatronic is that you can have a separate reagent container right here.
Yeah.
So you can have 2 liters, 5 liters, or whatever volume you can put, and then you can just leave it running for months, because you don't need to calibrate anything for 8 weeks.
Now that was another question. Since you mentioned the reagent, that was another question I picked off the forum. I'm doing a lot of homework this week. Is there any plan on selling the pre-mixed reagent? Because some people are like saying if they're a little off in their mixture of the reagent, that their numbers become off, and that's been a kind of nerve-wracking to some people. So they wanted to know whether you would offer a pre-mixed reagent.
For what?
That's
For
a
the
very good question.
ultrasonic?
Actually, initially we did offer a pre-mixed reagent.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not sure if I should say this, but as a reefer, we should be good enough to mix some solutions.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, like when I mix mine, I have a digital scale and I just scale everything out.
Well, that was the question. It was what did they use that? What is it? The flat scale? Like people were.
Yeah, I use a flat scale.
They didn't have a scale. Like most people don't have a scale to measure it.
You can buy one like $19 at Walmart.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I
that's
did.
what you
I
gotta
just went to
do.
Walmart
Yeah,
and got a big old digital like food scale, and it worked perfect.
Yep.
They have them
To be
digital
honest,
now. Yeah.
it's not important, because the scale is only giving you a number that you refer to. The
Yeah.
most important is the ratio. You have 4 parts of oil water
Yeah.
and 1 part of the concentrated reagent. So
Yeah,
it
you
doesn't
really
matter
don't
if you
need
have
a
a scale
scale.
or not.
I just
You
measure
can
everything out to
you
make sure everything the ratio's right on. That's what
So you can use a beaker.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can use a beaker. I myself, you know what I use? I
Measuring
tried no, not even that. I mean, I go to McDonald's. I have some plastic cups that I have. I
Yeah.
save a couple, and then I use the exact same cup for measuring the 4 parts.
Yeah.
1 part. I just put a little line on that cup,
Yep.
That's the easiest, probably the easiest way to do
and
it.
that's all you need. And that's all you need. But just I mean, when mixing, just be careful, because actually this happened to me myself. I mean, I can kind of give a lesson. Is that sometimes if you use the same, I mean, we suggest people use the same container to measure, so that you have no variance between different containers.
Oh, true.
But sometimes I put in 3 parts of water and I forgot. Oh shit! how many parts did I put already? So
Yeah.
that's where my mess up is.
I did that actually my first batch.
So after that, I actually saved more of the McDonald's cups. I have 5 cups. So I have 4 all water and 1 concentrated reagent, so that I can just pour them all in at the same time.
All you'll do, like me, is my wife yelled at me for using cups. Go to the 5 and dime, the dollar store, and get 3 measuring cups. They're $1. And just mark them. I just had to write. I do for my 2-part. I write ALK on one. I write magnesium on another. So I never like cross contaminate either. Like you use the wrong mixture and not wash the. I did that a few times. I forgot which one I put in which cup until I had a white cloud of smoke in my tank one day. So yeah, it's just to address that because I saw it in the forums. They were making a big deal out of mixing. So people just mark your cups.
Yeah. One thing I like to stop you guys, I mean, be a little bit of silent. I actually started my alkatronic right there, if you can see. And I don't know if you guys can hear it, because I can almost not hear it. I mean, even if it's close. So it can be this quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely need to do some adjusting on mine because mine, it's attached to a wall that goes up to my bedroom. And I'm telling you, 3 o'clock in the morning comes on, it decides it wants to test, and my wall is shaking.
maybe that's another problem. I mean, not a problem, but I mean, for you mounting it on the wall, maybe, I mean, I don't know if the rattles actually rattles your wall between the unit and the wall. So you maybe put a piece of a foam or something, or some insulation in between.
Well, it's not like a banging, it's the actual vibration from the stepper motors. So now that you brought up the whole point about actually adjusting it, I came across that stuff when I was doing a bunch of research, and I'm like, these are so expensive. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I trust where the information's coming from, because, I mean, there are people that throw a lot of stuff out there. But now that I've heard you say it and I know that I can do it, believe me, it's getting adjusted tonight.
Yeah.
Mine, I have it right
just for some.
Well, yours is in another room, Ryan.
With the power up.
Yeah, I'll share you. I'll show mine. So mine's not just stuck in a room, so you don't hear it all the time. Let's see here. Just gotta find it.
It's a million miles away.
No, it's not. Can you guys see that?
Oh, they're nice.
Yeah.
It's set up the way Eric's is behind them, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
But that's mounted flush to the wall, though, right? That's like Sean's is.
Yeah, but you know, after time, you don't even notice it anymore. Plus, I did the trick there, just unloosening everything a little bit. Makes a big difference.
Well, you guys are giving me lessons, because if I do go that route and go into the Dosatronic, noise drives me nuts because my stuff is in my movie room. Like, you can see my memorabilia. So like the buzzing would drive me nuts. It's good to go to the source. Now we know what to do.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Why are you coming?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm telling you, though, I can't vouch as far as personal use with the Dosatronic goes. I have one. I've had it in a box for almost a year now, just sitting there doing nothing because I was working on setting up my calcium reactor. Now I'm kind of over it. I don't really have enough demand to warrant all of the headache that I'm going through with my calcium reactor, so I'm about to rip that thing out and throw my Dosatronic up.
Holy jeez.
So I cannot wait to actually give that a go and kind of run it through, you know?
Yep.
Right.
I would probably.
I was just replying to one of the questions on online.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the calcium reactor too.
Oh,
I would be more likely to run the calcium reactor if I had that Alcatronic going behind it and constantly testing, only because you guys know my calcium reactor has been sitting since I don't even want it's embarrassing. I just got so used to not using it that I'm more intimidating of screwing up my system by throwing something on there and not testing it constantly. I mean, that's where these actually will probably save you once it's running. Like Ryan's, it's on autopilot.
It's running. Like I just I check my phone now and then and see how it's going. And, I check my probes monthly to make sure they're in check. And if everything is good to go, it works perfectly. It's one of the best investments I had is having that calcium reactor. Because my tank is so large, buying 2-part and just dosing, it costs a fortune. You know, my reactor's about 3 feet tall. That, you know, I'm good for 9 months or longer. It's crazy. It just works awesome.
See, here soon, once I get a bigger tank and I actually have the consumption where I need to worry about it, then I'm going to worry about hooking up that Alcatronic again. Until then, I'm telling you, I'm good. I'm putting on my Dostronic and I'm just going to dose because this has been a headache. And at least with the Alcatronic and the Dostronic, when they pair together, they work so amazing in conjunction and handling everything from what I've read. So I'm really excited to give it a go.
Well, especially, you know, with that Mastertronic that's coming out.
Oh my gosh.
It will help your dosing too.
I'm telling you. Ever since the ABEX and the Zepta were announced, I have been all about looking at testing. And then the stuff that I heard. No, I know, I saw it. Stop trying to point it out. I saw it. No, but ever since, you know, like the ABEX, the Zepta, the Trident, the ReefBot, ever since all of those started coming out and actually becoming more mainstream, I got really, really interested into automation. And then I started doing a whole bunch of research and I looked at Focustronic stuff and I was like, you know, this is absolutely amazing. I mean, I see that there are some problems, but I know that there are so many units that have been sold that the people that are having problems, most times it's user error, which is really sad. Since I've had it up, the thing has been flawless. The only time there's been any issue, it's been when I've had a setting messed up. You know, I messed up the MAC address for my smart plug or, you know, whatever the case was. It's just, it's been kind of a user error thing, you know, mixing up the reagent wrong or whatnot. Outside of those, though, like I say, it's just mint. The thing is amazing. I love it. That's why I'm excited to use the Dostronic. But now that we've got this nice, wonderful piece of equipment behind Eric's shoulder there that I've been drooling over the whole time I've been in, you know, I'm excited to get that because that, you know, I suffer really, really, really bad from Lars, which those of you that are watching that don't know what that is, it's lazy ass reefer syndrome. You know, I get behind in testing and everything, and it's just really nice to have that safety stop, you know, something just kind of let me know when I'm screwing up and to watch out for me and to watch out for my tank. I mean, not only do we have so much money invested in these things, they're living animals. Let's be realistic. I mean, you're not going to treat your dog poorly. Why would you treat your coral or your fish poorly?
Yep. Totally agree.
You're like, wow, that dog food costs too much. Let me get the cheapest dog food I could get.
And actually, I want to elaborate a little bit on Sean's what you just said. I mean, there's so many new products coming out. Some, I mean, you mentioned the name of ABEX and stuff like that. I mean, some people ask us, why did we go with the Mastertronic route to use reagents and not using ionic probes? I mean, can I explain a little bit on that front? I mean, actually, we did. I bought the hardware for the ionic probes, and we actually tested them. I mean, it's actually easier, or we can actually have products right now shipped or used in the public if we use ionic probes because it's just buying the hardware and reading it from the electronics.
Right.
But the bad part is the consistency that the ionic probes offer is actually not too good because the design of the ionic probes is not really for marine reef related use. They're using it for sewage stuff like that, and the measured ranges is actually not the same range that we need for reef aquarium, and people have a bad misconception is that, oh, if you use an ionic probe, no reagents is needed, but you're wrong. You need the calibration fluids. Every test that they do or every reading that they do, they need to be calibrated. So you need to automate this calibration before you can have an automated reading back. And this calibration requires the fluid, which is the reagent, if you will. So it's not a costless product to use. You still have running cost after you bought the units. And the probes, you need to change out probably every 6 months in order for it to be effective or accurate. And you can't submerge the probe all the time. Otherwise, it will deteriorate quicker. So you need to have it in a dry location in order to increase the life expectancy of the probes. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people don't understand because it's kind of a new technology for the reef community. I mean, it's not new at all for the industrial side, but it's new for the reef community to bring that into reef automation. And I mean, that's all I'm going to say, because I can just say that if we went with ionic probes, we have products being used in the public already, but we didn't do that, and we chose to use the reagent method, and this is actually a good thing. I mean, people are familiar with the reagents. I mean, Celifate, Red Sea, Fond Marine, all those reagents that we are listing on our site. It's because we select the best reagent for each parameter, so that's important. I mean, somebody will say, I'm not saying that. How do I put it? I mean, somebody might say, oh, why are you using API for calcium? I mean, I can tell you that for Mastertronic, we don't use directly the formulas of the test kit. We actually derive different formulas to increase the accuracy of those kits.
Right.
Yeah, and we use a different, let's say, a water volume or reagent volume to improve on those. So what Mastertronic will give you is not exactly what the test kit will give you when you do it manually. It will improve that by a lot.
So speaking of that amazing device behind you on the wall, so we're talking about the Mastertronic, and the Mastertronic is going to expand our testing into the alkalinity, nitrate, phosphate, magnesium, calcium, and DKH. So now that means we're going to have how many reagents for?
The Mastertronic will be able to hold 12 vials of reagents. So basically, based on our specification, you can do all the tests: nitrate, phosphate, magnesium, calcium, and alkalinity. So you can do all those within one Mastertronic.
Wow.
But if you already have an alkatronic, you'll probably want to skip the two vials.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
one of the good part that we designed is that you can have more than one vial of the same reagent.
Oh, okay.
So that will increase your maintenance time, not increase it or push it out more, so you don't have to refill it too often. If let's say you do a NO3 test every day, I have twice as much vials in there for NO3, then you can run a longer period without touching the unit. And it will detect. I mean, it will detect which vials is with sufficient reagent. So let's say vial number 10 is with one reagent and it's too low, so that you can't get it anymore from the needle. It will go to the next vial with the same reagent, so that it will do this for you.
Now that's amazing, because I'm actually looking at the specs. I tell you, I'm always trying to read up and everything. Now, am I correct in saying that this will run on Red Sea Pro reagents?
Yes, it will. I mean, that's for the magnesium.
Yeah, for the magnesium phosphate.
Phosphate.
Wow, so those reagents are pretty dang on obtainable. That's pretty. Most of us already have them.
Yeah.
So it's basically just taking the labor out of it.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it, but I'm impressed.
No, I'm going to correct you, D. Not only labor, but actually to improve the consistency, if you will, accuracy. Because when you look at those color charts, I mean, no matter how hard you look at it, you can't really differentiate the two side by side.
Yeah. I'll just say I got Ryan by about 10 years. My eyes and colors and those, I'm off. I'm off most of the time. I mean, a 1 point off can make a big difference.
Exactly. I love that you graphed it. Actually give a number compared to other brands that are out there. It's what they do by the colors and stuff like that.
Yeah. And as I told you, we derive formulas. So we don't give you, let's say, we don't only look at the color. We actually use the intensity of the color to give you an actual number.
Right.
So it won't be saying, oh, it's going to be 0.5 or 0.3 NO3. We're going to tell you it's going to be 0.35.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
So along the lines of testing, on your guys' actual website, it says that the Mastertronic will actually test OLI, which is your guys' own testing measure there. Is there a little bit you can tell us about that?
Yes, I mean, this is something that we've been asked for a long time, but we haven't really released much information. is that this is our own kind of a test that we derived from the Mastertronic, is that it tells you the kind of the organic level that your water has.
Yes.
Because the higher the organic level, the more yellowness of your water is. So that would reduce the clarity. And that's when you need to change out your carbon, let's say, your carbon, so that it sucks up those colors.
Right.
Yeah. So for that OLR, you don't need any reagents. It's all done by the sensors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's neat.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I want to know more about this and how that actually works. Because I mean, it's cool. It's something that's new that most people don't really look at or think about. I mean, it's just you look and your tank's kind of foobar and you're like, oh, I should run some carbon, and then it clears up and you don't necessarily have to run it.
And I'll tell you, like, I've started keeping discus. So I've been going to discus forums and speaking to a lot of my friends that keep discus, where you require a lot of water changes because they're not tolerant of organic buildup and nitrate. No one else is doing that test. So, like, not only would it probably save me carbon, but it would tell me when my parameters are probably putting them at risk. So for you freshwater people out there that don't look at a lot of this equipment that the reef following looks into, a lot of it is very applicable to what we do. I mean, I have multiple planted tanks, and testing organics is a big thing because, you think that plants remove everything, and they don't. They can actually contribute to things in the water. So organic testing in addition to phosphate testing and nitrate testing is that's pretty good bang for your buck.
Those are huge. Those are huge for freshwater. And yes, we will be opening up the freshwater market. I mean, we've been targeting the reef market, but actually with Algatronic, actually some people are using it on their freshwater systems for coils.
Oh, nice.
And and I mean, you guys know how much those fish are. I mean, those are crazy pricey.
Yeah. They are.
We have a few ponds here in Brooklyn. A few of my friends have ponds.
and nutrients is actually a oversight for some of the freshwater systems. And with Mastertronic, we are able to do that for the freshwater systems as well. I mean, discus or planted tanks. And because we can actually use the same reagents, but it will be a slightly different test. But we can use the same reagents to do freshwater versions.
That's really cool. I had never actually thought about looking into using these as far as not necessarily the Mastertronic, but like any of the Focustronic line as far as freshwater goes. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing like
we haven't really spent time on marketing it.
With these discus, man, they're pretty demanding.
Are you saying stay away from discus, D?
Yeah.
No, there is just when I look into something new, I tend to do my homework, and I'm saying, well, how come we do so many tests for saltwater, but I'm keeping like nanofish that if I'm lucky, if I see it once in a year in a store, I don't do all that testing on those. So I'm like, let me start testing these. And then I'm noticing that, pH is off in some tanks and sometimes nitrate is way up and we don't really look at it. So I think in the future that we will start applying a lot of this technology to the freshwater hobby, especially people I know with fish rooms, like rooms where they're breeding native live bearers or almost extinct species,
Yeah.
Endangered species, I should say.
Okay, so I keep seeing. Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, since we were talking about testing here, there keeps being a few questions that kind of pop up as far as how the Mastertronic decides the test has been long enough or whatnot as far as reading it goes. So I guess they're just kind of worrying about the process about how the Mastertronic knows that the reagent's been added and it's sat there properly long enough and everything for the Mastertronic to get an accurate reading.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
You mean during the test?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I understand your question.
Yes, during a test. Just like nitrate, takes 3 minutes or whatever after you add the reagent to it and everything if it's sitting. How does the Mastertronic decide that it's been 3 minutes for that particular test or whatnot?
Oh, we have a timer in the processor so that it times the exactly the time it needs to settle or to cure, so that it takes the reading after that waiting time.
Yeah.
So again, you can improve on the consistency. I mean, versus the manual test that you're doing. Sometimes you wait 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes before you come back with reading it. But with Mastertronic, it's all done automatically, so it's always the same time. If you like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'd be all built in the software kind of thing, telling it what to do.
Because actually the waiting time is actually critical to get a correct reading. If you wait too long or you wait too less, it's going to be different. And if you do this automatically by a machine, it will always be the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So now Jay's asking about that though. Do you actually have to tell the Mastertronic upon setup which tests you're using for each parameter?
You probably
Yes,
have to program it.
Yeah. I mean, in the app that we will be releasing probably in the next week or so, for each parameter, you got to select which test kit brand that you're using.
Okay.
And actually, one of the questions we had was that will we be releasing our own brand of reagents? And actually, we're in the process of doing that. But
good. I actually asked Winston
initial
that.
Stage, I mean, actually, the initial stage, I mean, for the benefit of the users, we actually use these ready kits that you can get from different brands, so that you don't have to worry about sourcing the kits, or you don't have to worry about the kits going off the shelf, and you can still use the unit.
Okay.
And it's easily obtainable. I mean, just go online and you get it in a couple of days.
Okay. We have a viewer asking, Matt, can you test DKH more than once on the Mastertronic?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is a good question. We can, but we don't want to, because I mean, this is an automated product. I mean, for the files, I mean, if you want to test like Alkatronic, where you test 6 times or 8 times a day, you probably be refilling the vials every 2 days. And this is crazy. This is stupid. I mean, you don't want to maintain the Mastertronic every couple of days. You want to have it set on autopilot so that you do it automatically. But we actually limit to once a day. We may relax this as we go, but right now it's limited to once a day, so that you can at least test KH for, let's say, 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
And it gives you an overview of your tank. Because if you're SPS dominated, you I mean, doing 2 tests a day still won't do you any good. You need every test. I mean, a test every 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for Mastertronic to do that is it's not impossible, but it's just not ideal. I mean, in our own logic. So that's why we limited that to once a day for now, so that it gives user an overview of the tank, so that they know, oh, the tank is still in the reasonable range, and I don't have to worry about it. But if you want to really control the KH, you probably go for Alkatronic.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the reagents, just like buying the brands, they're more expensive. You can buy a big, the big jug of the reagent for the Alkatronic. You're like it's like cents to dollars, in price wise.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, right now we're using celibate reagent for the KH test in the Mastertronic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're expensive, but it still won't be comparable if you're using the Alkatronic reagent. Yeah. I mean, with Alkatronic reagent, the running cost is like 7 cents per test.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't think you can beat that with anything else.
Well, if you're doing that many tests a day with the Mastertronic, you'd be going through so much of that Celifert. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the test time. I mean, the test time for Alkatronic is about 9 minutes with the latest software. It used to be about 12 or 13 minutes. It's now 9 minutes.
Yep.
But with Mastertronic, the test will be about 25 to 30 minutes per test.
How many times a day does it test?
As much as you want. We have a 24/7 schedule. So you can schedule the Mastertronic to do tests at any time of the day of the week. So it really depends on how you want to schedule it.
How much money you want to spend monitoring your tank?
Well, you could set it so it's not testing at 3 in the morning. It'll test while you're at work or while you're shaving or something.
Oh, one more thing about that. I mean, actually, we will be releasing update for the Alcatronic, and we will be allowing a scheduled test
Oh, okay.
rather than intervals.
Yep.
I'm over this thing going off at night. And besides, what do you really need to test alkalinity at night? Let's be realistic. There's
That's
nominal
when it
consumption, if
swings.
anything.
But that's when it swings at night.
Well,
Goes
yeah,
up
but
and down at night.
Yeah, all the
Mine-
photosynthesis and stuff.
Mine doesn't do anything. Not
No,
a
but
thing. My alkalinity stays exactly the same from the moment those lights go out till they kick back on.
No, with that said, it's actually not ideal to set a schedule, and that's why we have it on interval from the beginning. Because if you have it as interval, it can catches whatever problems the tank may have, even at night. For example, if you're not using dosetronic, or even if you're using dosetronic, if the dosing pump goes crazy, you don't know,
True. Very true.
right?
I mean, that is a good safety net.
It is. It is.
You know, or
Yeah,
or if
but-
you forget to turn off your continuous doser or whatnot while you're setting your calcium reactor and your
I've heard
pKh
that
goes
done.
from like 8.3 to 9.2 over the course of the night.
Well, especially when you're using caulk washer.
Yeah, exactly.
Caulk washer, many accidents. Many accidents.
So there's good and bad with that, but depending on the use case, I mean, some people may want to schedule KH test by Alcatronic rather than interval. But for people like Ryan, where they have a fish room, they don't care less when it goes off, so they can have it anytime. So
I like hearing it going
interval
off.
is the best one.
I like when it goes off because I know I'm getting a good test.
Right. Okay, so Tuan, I just saw that you posted on here asking about testing for PO4 and NO3 and stuff. The Mastertronic does do that stuff, but the Alcatronic itself doesn't.
No.
So just to clarify that, because I think that you had a little bit of confusion there as far as the products go.
Yeah, we hit on that about, the Alcatronic does the testing and it has a built-in doser that doses your DKH when you need it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Did I miss anything? I mean, is there any?
No.
No, but I was just answering a question there.
No problem.
I understand
So, I
that.
mean, while we're on Mastertronic, I want to actually elaborate a little bit about the ability. I mean, and also one of our new products, the Solartronics, that's coming up in another month or two. Is that, I mean, right now with Mastertronic, we actually are launching the Solartronics together because we feel that with the readings or with the data that you have from Mastertronic with the nutrients, you can actually automate your lighting intensity. I mean, that's very important. I mean, many people, or even myself, I would say most people set their lightings and they just forget about it. They don't touch it anymore. And this shouldn't be the way it is. I mean, because it's a dynamic system. It changes, it's fluctuating in terms of nutrients or KH or even pH.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have a lot of supporting documents. I mean, even from Reef to Reef, I mean, Dana Riddle, he has a kind of a speech about growth rates and light intensity. You can't just give the coral as much light as you want. You burn it, or you actually reduce the growth, not improving the growth. And with nutrients, we all know that the higher the nutrients, the more lights you need, or vice versa. The lower nutrients, the lower light you need. Otherwise, you burn it. So with the Solartronics and the Mastertronic working together, you can again autopilot that. So let's say your nutrients is higher now, you can actually increase your lighting by, let's say, 10% automatically without touching a button.
That
And
is awesome.
not to say that the Solartronic is already one of its own. I mean, you don't get anything like this in the market. Is that it is a movable, automated movement with the clusters, and we're lucky enough to be doing this together with Reefer. I mean, it's a very popular brand. Everybody knows them. I mean, Tulio, great guy, and then we can actually automate the angles so that it actually rotates, and you don't get hot spots. You get sweet spots because it will be 1 hour here, another hour it will be at a slightly different angle, and so that you can have a higher intensity over a broader area.
Okay, so now that we know that it's running Reef Bright LEDs, I mean, that's awesome. All of us in some fashion run something from Reef Bright. We love them. So that's great. We know the science behind them moving. We now have covered how the Mastertronic tests, and based on nutrient values in the water and everything, it's going to adjust the intensity of the lights. But a big thing that everybody tends to ask, and one thing that I personally was questioning about it, do you guys know what the spread is going to be as far as those lights go? Let's just say somebody's got a 3-foot tank. Is one of the Solartronics going to work, or are they going to need 2 or 3 or whatnot?
For a 3-foot tank, I say 1 is sufficient. 1 is more than enough. I mean, if you go on my page or the YouTube, I think we demo that with a video. Is that I have a 3-foot tank and with 1 Solartronic. Basically, the light can cover all angles or corners of that tank.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, I was wondering like a tank my size.
And that's based on having it how high off the surface though. Like when you say it'll cover 3 feet, does it have to be a foot above the tank, 8 inches? I mean, I know every tank is different, but if you have a hood is one thing. You're kind of limited as to how high you can raise the fixture. And I think Amy was asking earlier because she has a 4-foot deep tank. Like, would it be able to penetrate into a tank that's deep?
Yeah, I mean, a 4-foot deep tank, I mean, we actually have some optics that you can use, because as default, the Solartronic comes with the reflector that actually Tulio designed. So we don't use any optics. So we allow the best spread with the reflectors. And for deeper tanks, we will have a kind of an upgrade kit with optics, so that it will narrow down the beam a little bit and allow you that penetration.
Okay, so now, like Anthony's asking about a 4-foot tank, but I mean, if we're going to talk about tank size here, like, what would you say would be recommendation for some of the more common size tanks, like the 4-foot and the 6-foot, for instance?
The 4-foot, I mean, it really depends. Again, just like you said, every tank is different. It depends on your rock work, what you're keeping, and how high you're mounting it, and again, your nutrient levels and stuff like that. But I mean, if it's possible, I mean, for a 4-foot, I would go with 2, or actually you can supplement it with other lightings, T5s or whatever, if you only go with 1 fixture. So it really depends on how you design your tank or what you're keeping. If it's a SPS dominated tank, definitely go with 2, because you have more coverage no matter what. But if you're keeping some LPS, mixed reef, I mean, maybe 1 would be sufficient, depending on your rock work.
Okay. So now, what about a 6-foot tank?
Definitely 2.
Okay.
Because
so,
I mean, the rule of thumb might be 1 fixture will cover like 3 to 4 foot. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So 3 is safe, 4 is kind of pushing its capabilities then, essentially, as far as the spread goes with the way that it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, that answers a whole lot of questions that I've come across about it, because, I mean, people look at it and they're like, okay, I've got a 4-foot tank, and for the price, because, I mean, it is a bit of a pricey piece of equipment, they're like, I can go buy 2 Radions that's going to cover that. And, my argument is always, it's the technology, it's the integration, it's the way that it works. Also, it's a Reef Bright light as opposed to something more mainstream and commercial. And I absolutely love that about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to explain a little bit more about your point. I mean, that's very true. It also depends on your budget, and if you like the feature or if you believe in the features. Because honestly, you can grow corals with black boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt. So it really depends on how professional or how high end you want your system to be, or because this is more or less how to put it, I wouldn't say a toy, but it's something that you can use and something you can play with.
It's
I
a
would
luxury, a
Yeah,
luxury item.
I was gonna say it's more of an ease of access kind of thing. I mean, if you can set it and then you can tie it to the Mastertronic and it just kind of
Yeah.
does its stuff for you. Like yes, you're paying a little bit more as far as the cost goes, but at the same time, you're paying for the convenience of having something that's automatically adjusting for you and making sure that you're getting optimal lighting for your coral. I mean, to me, that's huge and worth the money. But it's not necessarily something that's worth it for a lot of people, but I mean, that can be said about any of the toys, I guess is a good way to put it. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about controllers or, the Alcatronic or the Mastertronic, the Solartronic, whatever. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. I mean, they're extra expenses that you don't need. We're gonna go with need on that one. But they're nice, they're convenient. I mean, I love the toys. I have them. So I mean, I'm all for it. Once that stuff is actually available, I mean, believe me, I'm gonna be putting toys on my stuff. But not everybody's like that. But again, I go back to it's kind of the convenience factor. I mean, sure, I've got XR30s. They're great. They grow stuff. They look good. They're quiet. I can't complain. The app is good. But I always felt like something was lacking. And then when I came across the Solartronic stuff, I was like, you know what? That's really cool. It actually adjusts and actually kind of not mocks, but simulates, how the sun moves and whatnot. That's just an awesome little bit of technology. And then when I found out that when tied with the Mastertronic, it would actually raise and lower intensity, I was like, I'm sold. That was it right there.
Yeah.
And now that I know the spread, though,
with the tilt, with the tilting angle, I mean, it not only like mimics the sun, but actually there's a use for it, because if you have like bigger colonies on top of your tank, I mean, the bottom one will be shaded out, but if you have a light that goes at an angle, you can still light that coral and allow that coral to thrive. I mean, maybe LPS or some other corals, of course, but you won't get a lot of shadowing that you get from conventional lightings that just only goes top down.
Now, I know I may be jumping ahead in technology because I'm always reading and doing my homework. Now, I know in the theory, in the relation to the applications on different tanks for the Solartronic, I know your notation, the feature highlights mention that the lighting shouldn't be set and forget it, but should adjust based on levels and alkalinity and a certain chemistry in the tank. Now, maybe not now, and maybe in the future, do you have any plan on the Solartronic talking to the Mastertronic? Like if alkalinity reaches certain point to lower the light, like do you think that that's something that you may integrate into it down the road, or is it already a plan?
It's already a plan. Actually, you can allow the Solartronic to be controlled to be controlled by a particular element, let's say KH or PO4 or NO3. So,
my mind blown.
Hold on, what was that, D?
Mind blown. Chemistry affecting configuration. I mean, I had to go there because when you're testing for so many specific traits, now what do you do with that information?
Exactly. I mean, right now we're in the age of data, the data. Yeah. So with automation, I mean, before I started Focustronic, or before we even have Alcatronic, I don't find automation necessary. But now with all the data you have, you got to make use of those data.
Sure.
And that's where the automation comes in. And lighting was actually overlooked. I mean, nobody actually looked at like automating light intensity. They may automate dosing, they may automate temperatures, but they don't automate lightings. Why? Right. Because they don't have the data for it.
See, that's just leaps and bounds.
I know, right?
You were gonna put it that way. It's leaps and bounds as far as being able to fully understand what's going on in each individual tank, because I mean no two tanks are exactly the same, so it's nice to have equipment that integrates so well together.
And my whole goal, like my whole goal for 2021 has been control away from home. Like the big thing is I travel like a couple of weeks of the year. I've been telling these guys I've added cameras, 365-degree cameras, because I have a fish room more or less. Unofficially, I have multiple tanks. So I want the system to say, hey D, your alkalinity is dropping, do this, this, and this, and then send me email, say, look, this happened, so the unit is doing this, this, and this, and then I could see it. So that is really groundbreaking. Really groundbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
I
even
mean,
pH in a planted tank, if the pH is dropping below a certain level, I could dose a buffer or something, or a fertilizer, or whatever the case may be for a planted tank. I mean, that's a whole different ball of wax that we haven't touched upon. Freshwater people, hint, hint. You know,
correct. So you want me to show you the Mastertronic a little bit? I mean, it's not going to do a test now because it's actually a unit that I brought from work yesterday.
Yeah, no, we definitely want
I
to
don't
check
know
that
if
out.
Yeah.
But hold on, before we
I
get
don't know if I can
into
switch the
seeing this
camera.
though, right? Okay, so while
Okay.
you're switching the camera, I'm gonna address this. Winston, bro, why you got to throw out the secret sauce stuff? We haven't gotten that far yet in the show. I promise you that stuff is coming. But come on.
Okay. I don't know if I can switch the camera or I need
he's on
to
the
use
he's
the
on the
same
forums all
camera
the time.
I'm using right now. Hold on. Because
You want to do the commercial,
can you
Ryan?
guys
While
help
he's
me? Do
setting
you know
up?
if I can switch the camera?
I'll give you a solo mode here.
Hey.
No, I want
Oh, no, we
I
can
want to
see
use
it
the
from
front
there.
camera. Is that possible?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, but I can't see what I'm showing. Okay, hold on. No. Anyway.
Oh, he's trying to do it a
I'll
long
do
way.
this.
That's all right.
Is this okay?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, I can see it's clear.
Okay, so this is the Mastertronic. I mean, it's a little bit bigger than the little brother, the Alcatronic. This
Yep.
is side by side. This is just a door, so for me to cover my stuff. So I mean, if you open it, I mean, this is the internals. I mean, the organs. So
Yeah.
let me kind of use this to hold the door right there.
Okay, so
Because
just
I can't
real
see what I'm
quick.
showing. So
So from the outside here, I'm looking at those dosing heads. Are those the Kimura X1 heads?
yes, those are the Kimura
Fantastic.
X1 heads.
Nice.
Very noticeable.
Those
Yeah.
are quiet.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are quiet. I mean, and it's actually, I mean, when we talk to the Kimura, they actually recommend us using this. So because this is one of the top seller pumps that they are doing.
Mhm.
And I mean, this is the carousel. Let me see if I can that way. This is the carousel. It turns, and hold on. Let me put you guys on a hold so that you guys can see. Right there. And hold on 1 second. I'm trying to send it some commands so that you can see it moving. So that's the carousel. So are you guys close enough to see the movement?
No, it looks like it's just a
There we
little
go.
too far back.
Moving now.
I was like, did you see the actual movement? I couldn't see it, Ryan. Your eyes must be better than me. I'm getting old in my old age.
I can see
it was my birthday 4 days ago, guys. I'm getting old.
my monitor screen's 42.
Because I can't.
There we go.
My monitor screen's 42
So,
inches. Beaver.
I mean, this is
Show
not
off.
a unit. This is not a unit being in use, so this is just for demo purpose. So
Okay.
there's 12 little files like this all around. I only have one. So this is how you take it out. This is how you take it out. And then
wow,
you
easy enough.
fill
Looks
it
like a
with
regular-
reagent and stuff like that.
And do
So
they all
A
have
regular
So
testing
you
bottle.
pop it back in.
do they have magnet stirrers in them as well? I can see.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Wow.
Because it'll
Yeah,
stir.
they have
before
stirrs.
it's attached,
They
right?
have stirrs in
Yep.
Exactly,
Wow.
because some reagent you need longer stirring time, and
Yeah.
we cater that in the program. So this is all the reagent that goes on this carousel. This is the RO chamber that we call it. This is where it rinses the needles and stuff like that.
Yep.
And this is the reaction chamber, and the reaction chamber will do all the testing and things like that. And basically, in a nutshell, is there is a stepper pump right there, just like the Alcatronic, if you can see it.
Okay. Yep.
And that stepper pump will draw tank water from your tank. So that's kind of a test water that it draws into the reaction chamber.
Okay.
With a correct volume, of course, and then it will rinse the needles, and then it will take whatever reagent is needed. It will dump back in, and then rinse it, and then take another reagent from here, and then dump back in and do titration or do the nitrate test, if you will, so that it dumps all the reagent inside and wait for the 3-minute or 10-minute time.
Okay.
And then it will take a reading. Yeah. So, and then there's three Comore pumps. One is to fill the RO chamber with RO water so that it rinses the needles. And then one of this is to remove the water from the RO chamber, and then one of this is to remove the water from the test chamber. So this is the I mean, it sounds easy, but it's actually quite complex. Oh, and one thing we have is the leak detector. So as soon as there's a leak detected, it will stop the whole machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's
my earplugs just got no battery, so I'm doing this off the speaker.
Okay. What's the distance that the Mastertronic can be from the tank, wherever you're taking your sample from?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me reposition myself. Okay. The Mastertronic comes with 2 meters of hosing.
Meters?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So basically, you don't cut that hose because we actually pre-programmed the Mastertronic to run that length of a hose. So you can have 2 meters away from the tank.
I bet a bunch of people cut that hose. I bet.
No, don't cut it.
Complaining.
Because that'll mess up your readings.
That's a good note.
No, not only it mess up your reading. I mean, it will overflow.
That too, yeah, because you're calibrated for a certain amount of water, test water.
Exactly. So, I mean, we will have instruction if people do read it to not cut the hose.
Okay.
I'm impressed, man. Looking at that looks like something out of the Avengers. I mean, that's real science. That's real science. Bruce Banner testing stuff right there.
How many meters again did you say from the tank?
2 meters.
2 meters.
Perfect. Perfect.
Can you convert that Canadian for us dumb Americans? Was that a?
Because
I think it's 3.3 feet per meter. 3 feet. So you have about 6 feet away.
Yeah, that works out perfect. Because I think I definitely want to get one day, and I have my display. I already know how I want to hook it all up.
See, now that brings up a question, because I know with the Alcatronic, there's certain standards on where you need the hose link to be and where you can place the reagent and all that stuff. Is there going to be such like restrictions, I guess is the way to put it, as far as mounting location goes with the Mastertronic?
The only restriction is 2 meters because you have a fixed length of hose. So if you can position the Mastertronic within 2 meters from your water source, you're fine. Because you will calibrate each pump. And just to run through the setup process. I mean, it's actually pretty easy. Yeah. First of all, you get the unit online, and it's actually a different way of getting it online than Alcatronic. When you first open up the Mastertronic, it is AP, an access point. So you connect your phone to the Mastertronic via Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you set your router's info to the Mastertronic. Then once it's saved, it will actually do an internal reboot, and then it will disconnect from your phone, and then it will connect to your home router.
Okay. Cool.
Wow.
So the other place I read, you guys are thinking of having one app, like one master app kind of thing?
Yes, we will have the all-in-one app, which shows all the products that we will be having. Yep. Alcatronic, Dosetronic, Mastertronic, Solartronic, and what we will be coming up probably later this year is the Powertronic.
Oh, nice.
Which is the power strip.
Okay.
And something that Winston leaked is the Filtertronic.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just gonna ask you if you had any other products coming out.
Yes. Actually, after the Mastertronic, I think we will have kind of a pause with testing equipment.
Right.
So we will be having more side products like Filtertronics, Powertronics, and something that I really, really want to do is the Flowtronics.
Ah, nice.
So Ryan, you think it's time for me to get rid of the D-Tronic? They're always laughing at me because I'm the last guy. I'm doing all of my tests manually and stuff. They call me the D-Tronic. I get to keep up with the Joneses.
That and all of your equipment is the cheaper eBay stuff. Just saying, you've got automation that's tied in there, but then yes, there is all the manual stuff and everything. That is why we coined the phrase D-Tronic.
We were just teasing them because we talk about it all the time, right? We're trying to make them come to the side, you know.
He's like, "What's your reading? What's that? What'd you get? This and that? I just got a reading just now." I'm like, "Okay, guys."
No,
Okay,
I mean, sorry. Go on, Sean.
Oh no, you were gonna say something. You go ahead and finish that. I was just gonna bring up a question, but it can wait a second.
I mean, with all these automation, I mean, with accuracy put aside, I mean, I'm all in the consistency kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that with all these automation, no matter what, I mean, the consistency is going to be better than what you can do manually. I mean, I don't know if you guys have the same problem. I mean, if I do 2 manual tests together, I will go, is it this or is it that?
Yeah.
So, and then what I'll do is I'll take the average.
Exactly. You start chasing those numbers with every kid out there.
You take what feels good.
Exactly. And with automation, I mean, it will do this consistently. And then with one of the features that we have is we have this baseline calibration, pretty much an offset. So that if you want to say, oh, I want it to be, as my test kit saying it's 8 DKH, you do that offset and Algotronic will actually match the numbers for you. But again, the consistency is what is matter. It's the most important. It's not really the numbers itself. I mean, 8.5 or 8.3, who cares? I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not the most important thing that you should chase for.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're not having the big swings.
Yeah, and you become used to looking at your tank.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've been in a hobby a long time, it's easier to say that. I mean, new people never understand that, and it is something that you get used to seeing reactions in your tank. Like whether it be that yellowish hue, like know when your water's clear versus, hey, look, I need to throw carbon in there or something like that. But the fact that you are looking at testing organic manner still is in my head. Like I can use that for so many different things, not only just the reef.
Yeah. And maybe that can control your UV running time.
Yeah.
Yep. True.
Save your bulb life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of opportunities. I mean, with all the data that we have. I mean, some people run reverse lighting with the view, right? I mean, whether 12 hours or 8 hours or whatever. I mean, you can actually control that. If the nutrients is getting too low, you can actually reduce the running time of the future light.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digging so many different things about the way that all of this works together. But there is actually a really good question that was popping up on here that Tuan asked. And this I wanted to know myself. So with the Algotronic, everybody knows you can have a storage container or you can dump the reagent and everything back into the tank and it doesn't really do anything. But what is the storage kind of dump requirements or whatnot as far as the Mastertronic goes?
Oh, yeah. Mastertronic, you can't dump it back into your tank. No, because you won't. After you do a manual test, you won't dump those back in your tank. those
never, ever.
No, the question wasn't about redumping it in there, but it's like what is kind of the suggested, I guess, as far as kind of a container goes for it.
Okay.
Like, how much does it actually push out as far as waste product goes for
you got,
every test?
You got the RO water plus the reagents that have to clean tubes and stuff.
Exactly. We suggest like a 5-liter container would be good. And approximately each test will run about 100. I mean, less than 200 mils of wastewater.
Okay.
So that's not so bad. I mean, that's basically the equivalent of running 4 alkatronic tests.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I mean, it's got that 50 milliliter vial and everything. So I mean, you're kind of in that ballpark. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
just evaporation will be more than that volume, I would say. I mean, depending on your size of the tank, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what's on the next?
So
What's next?
everybody seems to kind of be questioning maintenance.
Right.
Be Chris Brown fan.
Maintenance for the Mastertronic. I mean, you will have to change the needles every maybe 6 weeks. I mean, again, that depends on how many tests that you do.
Okay.
Because I mean, just more mileage on the car, you need to change your tire more frequently and stuff like that.
Will
But,
it let you know when it's time?
Yes, we will have a counter just like Alkatronic. I mean, Alkatronic with the latest update, it has a counter, and every 800 tests, it will send you an alert so that you have to change the hoses for the pumps.
Yep.
Because I have seen, I mean, we obviously have seen some people running the tubes way longer than they should.
Yeah.
And it will start to have cracks, and then it will start leaking inside the pump. So we actually incorporated this counter so that you know when to change out the tubes. Same with Mastertronic. We will set a number so that for every so many tests, you should change out the needles or change out the syringe or change out the hoses.
Okay. That I mean, simplifies everything there. If it's counting it for you, I mean, that's definitely very handy.
Yeah.
And from you showing us the inside there, it looks like a lot of the replacement stuff is pretty easy. I mean, let's just say one of the dosing heads go out. I mean, those Kamoa X1 heads, literally squeeze it, pull it out, put the new one in, you're done. Like, it's so easy.
But don't forget, you have to calibrate after changing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would hope people were doing that.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important.
It looks built really well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's
impressive.
Yeah, it's
It's a
set to
pretty
run
complex
continuous.
machine. Yeah.
Continuous running, that has to take a beating. It's got to be durable.
It is. So,
now,
go on.
Jay brought up an interesting question here. I've seen where people have been using Dostronics as auto water changes. I don't think that that's a smart idea because, I mean, you're just working on burning that stuff up that much faster. But I see people do it. He makes mention about an auto water change tronic or a perfect water salinity tronic or whatnot. Is there anything in the works to
you missed
kind
it.
of jump
We
into
went
that?
we went into that earlier.
Oh. Well, apparently that was missed by Jay as well. So, Jay, I got you.
Yes, we will be having some updates to the Dostronic software.
Okay.
And we will be including kind of a continuous dosing for Kaltwasser or for calcium reactors.
Yeah.
And we will be including the feature for auto water changes. I mean, I think we might actually limit the volume of water change you can do, just to save on the hose. But if you're doing daily auto water changes, you don't really need that much, maybe 30 liter or something like that per day.
Okay. See, that definitely answers that question then. I was actually more curious about if there was something in development that was kind of a standalone auto water changer.
No, I think we can do all that from the Dostronic. So,
but if you're dosing so much stuff, I mean, it's got 5 heads though. Let's be realistic. Most people don't really dose 5 things
1, 2,
like
3,
that.
Maybe 4.
Yeah, I mean, 2-part dosing, you got 2. You throw calc in, you got 3. You still kind of have 2 dead heads there.
Oh, you brought up a very good point. You can have more than one Dostronic, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that gets real pricey then.
No. Let me put this. I mean, it's not really. I mean, that was really a joke. But actually, if you have 2 Dostronics, because some people might be dosing lots of stuff, and if you're using 2 Dostronics, you can actually control from Mastertronic any pumps of those Dostronics, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be 1-to-1. It can be 1 Mastertronic versus 2 Dostronics. So you have 10 pumps that you can control.
Okay.
See, I'm digging this now.
Right. right?
There's so many things you can do with it.
I know. I'm really digging the lights. Like seriously, adding that to the ecosystem, definitely can see it very beneficial.
Yeah, and well, it's not even so much just the solartronic. One thing that we didn't touch on was the solotronic. Because I mean, it's on there. So I mean, is there any updates on as far as that's released and everything goes?
You mean the solartronic?
No, the Focus One. Sorry, not the solartronic, but the Focus One. Let me get a little more specific. For some odd reason, I was thinking it was a solotronic. That would have been a cooler name than the Focus One.
I thought the Focus One had come out already.
That actually the Focus One was what got Focustronic
that started. Yeah, that was the first generation.
Okay.
How did I miss that?
You missed that one too, Sean.
How did I miss that?
You came late to the show. That was where the company started.
I'm just catching up for all the late people here.
This is what I'm using.
Oh, he's got it.
This is the Focus One. I mean, we kind of I would say we discontinued that because I mean the drawback with one of these one single cluster light is that when it's swiveled to the left, I mean the right side will be dimmed. And actually we corrected that, or we solved that with the new solartronic, where we have 2 clusters and 2 strips with XHOs, and that will balance out all the lighting. And then while the 2 clusters will have left and right movements. Oh, actually, for the solartronic, it's only left and right. It's not only left and right. It actually goes left and right and front to back. So you have 2 axes.
So Focus One is on clearance.
Just try to wipe these out.
Hey, I can use that. I just add a reef bright.
Yeah, you can.
You add reef bright. You still use it.
Yeah.
But still innovative, because who has come to the party with rotating light fixtures that will adjust the strength and the intensity of the light from one point of your tank to the other? It's revolutionary.
Yeah. So basically, with a solartronic, you can point at any angle or any corners of your tank, because it's a 360-degree movement.
So would you have to do some sort of programming into the unit to tell it what kind of dimension it's over? Like, wouldn't you have to tell the fixture it's over a 3-foot tank or it's over a 2-foot tank in order for it to know a boundary?
You actually hit one of the points that we discussed during development. If we do it that way, it will be way too complex for user to set up.
Oh, okay.
But what we did is that for each time point, like let's say every hour, you can define the angle of X and Y.
Oh, okay.
So you can be directing the light at the top left corner at 5 o'clock, but then at 6 o'clock you'll be directing at a different corner or different angle. So you define the angles per hour or per time point.
Oh, okay. So inevitably it will cover a whole radius.
Exactly.
That it's preordained to cover.
Exactly. And again, how your rock work or aquascape is, so that it will do what you tell it to.
Okay.
Wow, tanks have come a long way in years.
Yeah.
So will the light be into that app as well?
Yes, the light will be in the app,
because it's going to communicate with everything anyway as well.
Exactly, and it's very fun. I tell you, it's very fun to use something like that. I mean, there's basically nothing out in the market that can do the same thing as we do.
No, you got so many different products under that umbrella. It's amazing.
So it has to be used with the arm that you provide, I would assume, because this is a moving component. Does it come with the arm?
No, actually, no. I mean, the light can be hung from ceiling, or you can be used for some existing racks that you guys do. Because even for the Focus One, we purposely designed it so that it uses the RMS mounts from Radiance.
Yep.
And I mean, there's so many aftermarket mounts right there. Yeah. So we don't want to kind of design it so that it uses only our mounts, but we allow users to use whatever mounts they can.
Okay, because I have in my main area, my larger tank, I have a hood only because, as you can see behind me, in this room, the ambient light it lights the entire room. So if you have a fixture that's motorized, I would imagine it would be confined to the housing that it's in as far as movement, or it'd be some kind of guideline to how you can mount it.
I mean, there will be three. I mean, on the Solartronic, there will be 3 slots. I mean, that runs parallel to the whole fixture. So basically, you can have kind of the hanging kits, if you will, to go on either of the 3 slots.
Okay.
To mount on the rack that you have.
Okay.
Wow. It just keeps getting more and more impressive. Like
we can't stump you, Eric. He's got all the answers.
Yeah, because I helped develop all these. I mean, together with Jonas. I mean, I need to give Jonas some credits as well, because he actually is not the best time right now. He is now 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, so he can't join. And I mean, he has helped tremendously with the product designs of the testing products, and we have a very good relationship with him as well. And without him, nothing will be possible.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you guys have done a great job. Here is an interesting question, though, that we haven't really touched on, or at least that I didn't catch earlier. There's a lot of question as far as integration with this goes, as far as, you know, like the Hydros controllers or the Apex or the eCoral, or, you know, all of these new controllers that are coming out as well.
Right.
I missed that too, Sean.
Yeah, for the KH from Alcatronic, I mean, we designed the BNC connector so that it connects to other controllers. Yeah. But with a relationship with CoreView, we have done this for them wirelessly, so that the Hydros app will actually get the DKH value from the server. So this is done wirelessly. And whether we will be working with other controllers, I mean, that haven't been decided yet. I mean, it's 2 sides. I mean, whether they want to work with us or whether we want to work with them is still open. It's still open.
I'm trying to pull it up on here. I really wish I could do like a screen share, but let's see if it'll actually show. It's putting my stuff in, but you can see on the actual Hydros app how it's got the Alcatronic on there, shows all the readings and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's nice. There. It's awesome. I love it. I can see what my tank's running at just at a click there.
Yeah. Oh, with the new app that we're doing, it's basically there's a dashboard. I don't know if I can show any photos, but
you can. You can share. I can share it on the screen if you put it up.
Let me try. Let me get my iPad out. Hold on 1 second. I just put the phone down.
And reef the sea forever. Don't cut that hose. I was gonna cut that hose. Don't cut it.
Hold on 1 second. There we are. I can't share the let me put it this way. Can you see the app?
Okay.
Ryan, you're gonna have to make it bigger.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it bigger.
Yep. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. So this is the dashboard. So basically you have all your parameters here. I mean, I haven't been testing, you can see. So it's all 0. And you have the building elements, which is the KH, pH, calcium, and magnesium. And then on a different tab, you have the nutrients. And then right here, you have the lighting schedule if you have the Solartronic.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me give this a kind of an example. So this is the Solartronic app page. So basically, this is all the lighting channels that you get. And this is where the fun part is. So let's say for 3 o'clock, or let's say 7 o'clock, I want it to be 10 degrees, 17 degrees here. And then I can actually have another angle. You can see this is moving so that you know where it is tilting to.
Okay.
I don't know if it's close enough for you to see.
Yep.
Yeah. So right now at 7 o'clock, it will be at this angle. And then at the same time, you can change the angle for each hour. So this is the Solartronic side of things. So for the Mastertronic, this is what it is. There's a parameter, let's say nitrate. You can set, right here is the reagent brand. So right now we have Fauna Marine, and then there will be 3 reagents. So you select which file to go for each reagent, and then you can set the dosetronic. Pump 1 will actually change the schedule by 10% if it's above the reference levels. And this is the reference levels that you set, just like Alcatronic, the high-low reference. And then here is the schedule that you do. Let's say we do a Tuesday, we'll do 12 o'clock, and then we'll save. And then it will, every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, it will run a nitrate test.
Okay.
And then you do the same for other parameters. Just exactly the way I did with the nitrate. And hold on, what else I need to show you? I mean, to calibrate, actually to set up the unit is very, very easy.
Okay.
All you need to is to calibrate a pump, and then the stepper pump, and then the syringe. That's all you need. So basically, you can probably set up the unit in 15 to 30 minutes. And then for the maintenance, you have a list of stuff that you can do. So, yep. So this is pretty much Mastertronic and the Solartronic in a nutshell.
Oh, that's not. So when will that app be released?
We will probably release that in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so Peter asked an interesting question here. When using, or now with the advancements of the app and everything, if you're using a Dosetronic, essentially Pump D on the Alcatronic is kind of useless at that point. Is there any plans on repurposing it so that it can be used for something else?
Yes, we will be, and this is part of the next update that we're doing. I mean, we've been sorry about this. I mean, people are asking this for a long, long time, and we've been too focused on the new product development. But with the new software, just like what you asked for, a schedule test instead of an interval test.
Okay.
With that update, we will actually give the Pump D a feature. So let's say for you don't dump back the wastewater into the tank, but you actually put it to waste. You can actually refill the tank with the same amount of water.
Okay.
So it's pretty much an automated water change for you daily.
Wow,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
All right. I mean, I'm
good idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sold. Here, take my money.
You got one already.
I've been ready. Are you kidding me? I mean, since I found out about this whole project, I've been chomping at the bit. I mean, you can ask Winston. I reach out to him every couple of weeks. Is it ready yet? Is it going? Have you heard anything? Where's the status? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So yes, we've been a little bit late with that feature, but I mean, there's a reason. I mean, we are too busy with the new products, and I mean, it's in the to-do list. So we will give the Pump D back a feature if you have the AT and DT combo.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
It's a great way to repurpose that one.
And actually, one thing I want to mention is that even with the Dosetronic, we discussed this with I don't know if I should say it. I hope I'm not getting in trouble with Polyp Lab from Canada to actually derive some formulas to dose core food.
Nice.
Wow.
Because again, this is kind of a section of reef keeping that people not do it schedule. I mean, me myself, I feed whenever I want, but
Or like
there's no schedule to it.
phytoplankton.
Yeah.
Phytoplankton you can dose, and a lot of the formulas they don't refrigerate.
Yeah.
I mean, you
And,
can do it on a regular interval and then test for the organic load.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
actually, I mean, we all know that the whole reef depend on stable consistency.
Yep.
And if you can actually dose coral food every day by small amount, so that it will actually help your corals much better than I dose once per week, or I dose whenever I want, or twice a month or whatever.
Yep.
But if you actually do this with, of course, proper nutrient export, you can actually feed corals daily.
Well, that's pretty.
Wow.
Jay said, "There goes my stimulus check."
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, well, at least there's $600 there. You know, half of it. Half of it. Hey, you know what though? You cannot put a price tag on a peace of mind. I'm telling you, that is what I have learned with my Alcatronic.
Yeah, and another product that we might be coming up, as I said, we will putting a pause to testing equipment, but we will be putting out more accessories, if you like.
Okay.
It's kind of a stirrer or dosing container with stirrer kind of product.
Well, you know they need cups, because if people can't measure their reading, you can put out a Focustronic measuring cup system.
No, but that ties into what I said, is that, I mean, for all those coral food, you need to give it a good stir before you actually dose it, if you want to do this automatically.
Yep. Oh,
So
magnetic stirrers, yeah.
Yeah, so before Tronic dose your coral food, it will stir it for 5 minutes or 3 minutes before it dose.
okay. You need to come up with an underwater camera for your system.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
I have
Oh, yes.
people asking me, you think they'll ever put out an underwater camera system that works flawlessly? And you can put that right on your dashboard.
Dude, I tell you, don't put an underwater camera. Just get a 360 camera. Everybody wants underwater.
Underwater,
You really can't see what you think you're going to see in the tank.
if
From
you have
the outside of the tank, you can look at your sump. You can look at the tank. You can look at the lights. What are you going to look at inside the tank other than the fish staring at you?
everything.
I
He's
mean,
going to say, I got a rash right here.
hey, you can get those nice up close inspections
Yeah.
when you're looking for ick. All right.
Look at that.
Just because you can see it from the outside doesn't mean it looks as good. You know, waves, and depending on where you put your camera and filters and all that stuff, like there's a lot of work that goes into that. I mean, we know you've got something that you're playing with, D, but come on now. Not all of us,
Those pictures are pretty clear, man.
but not all of us want to be able to control our Google Home from our phone like that.
That's going to be next, and Eric's working on it right now. You see his eyes twitched. I think you just
we'll probably work on something with Siri or Alexia. So
Yeah.
we have voice commands. I mean, that's something that again we talked about internally, but we just don't have the time or resource to focus on that yet.
Right.
So basically, just sit on the sofa and ask, not even opening the app, just what my nutrients level are.
Now, you know what, these guys, I tell them when I'm at work, I have the camera, I turn it to which tank I want, and I say, hey, Google, feed the super cube in the feeder guts, and I can see it. I can see the fish eat. I can see whether it's eating, or you put on a quarantine tank, you can see whether the fish is active during the day. When, you know, technology is here. You know, it's just here, so it's making life a lot easier.
There you go. That's what Winston said. The Camatronic.
Cameratronic. The Viewtronic. There you go.
Viewtronic.
The
So,
Viewtronic.
I just saw Jay put up something here about like a glass cleanatronic or whatnot. I mean, I don't know about you, Eric, but I gotta veto that one right now, because I know too many people that would set something up like that, and it'd be great for the first like day, and then it would get that one piece of sand in there and just drag it everywhere.
Yes,
Or they
I know
clean
what
the
you mean.
silicone. They clean the silicone right out of the tank and split the seams.
No,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I'm-
that's something that we thought about, but again, that's not the priority. I mean, that's more kind of a gadget, if you will.
Yeah.
People, can we actually touch our tanks once in a month? We're getting to the point where we won't even be looking at the tank. We'll have the Viewtronic. It'll look at it for us.
Exactly.
Just like
So,
these.
I mean, there's so much automation you can do, but I don't think we should take all the work away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no reason to keep it. I mean, you don't touch it, you don't watch it, you don't do nothing with it.
I hear you. Well, sometimes I sit here thinking, what am I going to do to my tank? Literally, I walk in my room now, I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's all working. You know.
Yeah, but see, those are the days where you can actually kick back with your coffee and go,
I do.
oh man,
I drink
this
my
tank is beautiful. This is amazing. And then you would probably go and break something just so you'd have something to fix.
I keep myself busy on other projects.
Well, I mean, you do have a fresh project right now.
Yes, I do. Yes,
I'm just saying.
Now that my back's feeling better, I can get more at it.
Oh, we can tell you it's feeling better. You're actually active this year.
Right? You can tell. I know. I wasn't like last time, barely moving.
So, guys, we have had Eric on here for an hour and 50. Have we squeezed all the information we could possibly squeeze out of him?
I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty much everything that I can think of. I mean, I have an actual customer service question that I have to reach out for. I mean, to hell, we can just throw this one out here. See if you have an idea on a solution for this one, because I've seen it in a couple of places. So I have an iPhone, and when I go to use the app, it won't connect through Bluetooth to my Alcatronic, but yet I can still connect it remotely through the web servers.
Okay,
And-
so basically it's online, but it's not picking up the Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm. But if I reboot it, though, the Bluetooth will kick back on, and I can access it through Bluetooth again.
Okay, gotcha. So this can be either case. Maybe there's something wrong with the SD card. I know this is not the best thing that people may want to know, but either is the SD card that is having problem, or the wireless module in the unit that is having a problem. So I mean, for me, I would actually try an SD card first, because that's easy to do, and if not, you might need to replace that wireless module in there.
Okay. Perfect. So, I mean, that gives kind of an idea. I mean, I've seen the customer service thing pop up a couple of times. Let me tell you what, guys, that's great customer service right there. Getting that direct answer right away.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I saw that one pop up a few times, and nobody ever seemed to really have an answer. You know, it was always just restart the Alcatronic, and I'm like, that's what I've been doing, but I can only connect to it for the first like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing is, too, a lot of viewers like asking where do they buy these products from.
Mhm.
Like Coral View is like the main distributor, right, in the States.
Yeah, and they actually handle Canadian markets as well. But
Yeah, they do, yeah.
I mean, but I think it's down to the store to actually order from them.
Yeah,
Or to stock them. So
that's where I buy my reagent from. I buy it from Coral View.
yeah, but in any case, if anybody can't get a hold of products, they can email us directly, and we'll put them in the right hands.
fantastic. See, again, back to the good customer service there.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
I think that we've kind of murdered most of this stuff to death. So I guess realistically, the only question that is really lingering out there that I can think of anyways is there an actual projected date for distribution or anything on like the Mastertronic and the Solartronic?
Mastertronic is being shipped as we speak. So again, these will be out in the Europe or the Asian market first. I mean, Coral View will pick this up probably in a month or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really
And,
hoping sooner than in 2 months.
And talk to them, email them.
I definitely will. Believe me, I'm reaching out.
Yeah.
And Solartronic will actually be shipping probably by March, I would say.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, because actually, this is one of my mistakes, is that we shouldn't be pushing out 2 new products at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of pretty intense, I say.
Yeah. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, but we are where we are now. So the Solartronic is being pushed back a little bit. I mean,
Yep.
they were supposed to ship together, but I mean, rather than doing 2 things not perfectly, we do
Yep.
first thing perfectly, then we do the second one
Okay. And Coral View will be selling your lighting as well?
as well. Yes.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Good to know.
Sounds like I've got a call I need to make here. You need to start getting this wait list going, you know? I'm just saying. And Winston, stop gloating, okay? I
Yeah.
see this. Stop gloating.
Like the UK is priority.
Priority, yeah.
Hey, you know what? The truth is, though, is the UK deserves a win. They've got a lot of stuff going on over there, and here in the US, we get a ton of stuff before they even do. So
We're selfish in the U.S. Send us stuff.
I mean, I'm just saying they deserve a win. So you know what? It's all good. I'm okay with waiting a little while longer.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a goal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've been almost here for 2 hours, guys.
Right?
Yeah.
I told Eric maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I didn't lie. I
How
didn't
long
lie.
is this going to take?
We definitely.
When you get chatting, having a good time flies.
Yeah, that's it. Time flies, man. Well, I definitely want to thank Eric for taking the time to go over everything in such great detail, give us some insight on things to come. It's been a pleasure, and one, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for you guys for inviting.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Again, yeah, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Definitely. Lots of good information there. Very insightful. Really, really appreciative of it.
Yeah.
As far as everybody that's watching, hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. We really appreciate you. Love the support. Be safe. Don't catch COVID. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Bye, guys.